Corey Hess, News Radio WRVA, the voice of Virginia.
$52.20.
All right, it is 9:34 here on Richmond's Morning News, News Radio WRVA. Thanks for joining us. Wow, end of a long week. Back from vacation, very happy to be here. Great show today, by the way. Okay, come on, tell me the honest truth. And if you missed it, we're going to podcast it. We'll put it up at WRVA.com. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us on the Odyssey app, the iHeart app. You can find us on Apple. Wherever you get your podcast, you'll find it. You can just find Richmond's Morning News. We talked to the oldest of the three Hanson brothers. You remember them from the band Hanson and their song Bop. And I told him I hated you guys. I hated that song.
Not the movie Slapshot.
No.
Since you said the Hanson brothers.
Right, different brothers.
Okay.
And I told him I hated that song, but he was cool. I'm going to go see them. They're going to be in Innsbruck after dark a week from Saturday. Oh, by the way, Gary, did you hear what Dave Saunders said? One of the best movies of all time is going to be at the Byrd Theater.
I did not.
Saturday night, Gunga Galunga.
Oh, Caddyshack.
Have you ever seen Caddyshack on the big screen? I don't think I ever have.
I don't think I have either.
I don't remember. I saw Animal House on the big screen. I went to a drive-in theater. Whew. Couldn't believe I got to see that.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
But it is a way to host a morning show in Richmond.
Yeah.
But I don't think I saw Caddyshack on the big screen. I don't think it was a big hit. I think it became a cult classic once videotapes came out.
You know, my favorite story about that movie is the scene where Chevy Chase is practicing for the match and he comes through where Bill Murray is like his little shack where he's living.
Right.
There's a ball in there. That was not in the script. And they were having lunch one day with Harold Ramis, who produced the movie, and they were talking about how the two of them didn't have any scenes together in the whole movie. And they kind of worked up what they were going to do, went back in the afternoon, shot it, ad-libbed it, and did it in one take.
Because the two of them hated each other.
I know.
They had gotten actually into a fist fight. When...
Which is why it surprised me that they actually had lunch together.
When Chevy came back to Saturday Night Live to do a guest host, and Bill Murray had kind of taken over his spot, and Murray popped off at Chevy Chase, and Chevy Chase punched him out.
Chevy's always a little sensitive like that.
Yeah, but Fletch, pretty good movie.
Did that happen before or after Caddyshack?
I think that was after.
I think it was too. That explains.
No, it was before. That's why
Fletch.
No, Fletch. I thought you were talking about the fist fight.
I was.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Fletch.
No, the fist fight was first, and then they made Caddyshack, and that's why they didn't appear in any scenes together continuity-wise. The movie didn't make any sense if the two of them weren't on screen at least once.
Doesn't change the fact that they ad-libbed that scene and did it in one take.
One take.
And it's beautiful.
Gunga Galunga. Put it on the Underhills tab.
Oh, you went to Fletch. You switched to Fletch on me there.
Got to stay on your toes. It's Richmond's
Give
Morning News.
each other $20. Put it on Underhill.
Oh boy, that's when I walk into Texas and I feel like Spalding. I'll have a hamburger. No, I'll have a cheeseburger.
You'll have nothing and like it.
I'll have a Jeff Katz dog.
You'll have nothing and like it.
There you go. Yeah, like I said, good show today. Good show today. I appreciate everybody joining us, and I'm still just all fanboy giddy that I think I'm going to tag along with Governor Allen and go to that Young Americans Foundation conference up at Mountain Front next week. It just popped in my head. I went to that as a 20-year-old, almost 40 years ago, as a kid. First time I ever flew. Went to DC for 5 days and showed up at this conference. It was incredible. So And my son Rigney's still in town. In fact, we're going to go over to Greentop to the range this afternoon and shoot and have some lunch and run around. But boy, to be able to go do that with him out there at Mount Vernon and hang out with Governor Allen will be a lot of fun. That's pretty cool. All right, I can do one or two things, Super Dave, because I kind of got distracted talking about Caddyshack.
This whole show has been about you getting distracted. You were distracted by Spider-Man.
Great movie.
Yeah. And this.
Oh, no. This is different than being distracted. This is just me being a fanboy.
Oh, okay.
Of going to see Ben Shapiro and Boris Johnson and all the rock stars of the conservative movement that are going to be up at Mount Vernon with Young Americans Foundation. And Governor Allen, because how cool is it that Governor Allen is the chairman of the Reagan Ranch, where they preserve his boyhood home, and then the Reagan Ranch out in Santa Barbara.
That is cool.
I've never been to the ranch itself. I've been to the museum. I've been to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Center and Museum many times. That's probably my favorite presidential museum of all time. Been to the Nixon a lot. Went to Nixon or Reagan quite a bit. I'd always host a military ball at the Nixon Museum every year, and went to the Reagan Museum time after time after time. And then I've been to a few others, like the George W. Bush Museum. I went to Presidential Center. That's small. That's tiny. On the SMU campus, we stopped on my way driving from Arizona to Virginia to move. That's a tiny one. I still need to go to the Woodrow Wilson, even though I'm not a big fan. That's up near the Buc-ee's. Here in Virginia, that's how I'm going to describe it. It's up near Buc-ee's. People are yelling at me. That's how I tell people where it is. I want to go up there one day and spend the day as well. We can do open phone lines here if you want, Super Dave. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. If you want to comment on any of this, let me follow through with this. So I was trying to explain the gas prices. And by the way, I was supposed to talk about what's the one thing that you can cook, but we got distracted.
Well, call in about that too.
All right, if you want to call in, RFK Jr. is starting a cooking show, and he's going to have celebrities and other people on. So people have been talking about this online. If you were a staunch conservative and you went on with RFK Jr. and the Maha folks, what would you cook? Or if you were the most vegan, progressive, liberal, Democrat, socialist of America, what would you cook? I don't know about you. I can only cook a couple different things. If I went on that show, I don't know if anything I would cook would make it past RFK Jr., to be honest with you folks. Because the only things I know how to cook are chicken fried steak, chorizo and eggs. I can make fettuccine Alfredo from scratch, and I'm really good with the grill. That's why I'm going to go by Tom Leonard's and get some ribeyes today. But what can you cook? Like if RFK Jr. asked you to come on the show, what could you knock out if you wanted a cooking show? 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. Dave, do I have time to finish up? Because people are like, Rich, I don't understand what you're talking about with the gas thing with Senator Warner. Can I do that real quick? All right, Dave's saying I'm allowed to. Okay. See, folks, that's what happens around here. Super Dave just yells at me, shut up and talk. Shut up and stop talking. Senator Warner put this out that $2 billion has been paid by Virginians since the beginning of the conflict with Iran. But I wanted to put that in perspective because that's pretty stark. And we've all seen it. I've talked about it. Like, I've got an SUV and I have not been filling it when I go to put in gas, like probably every 10 days or so. With Rigney here, we've been driving all over the place, so I've been spending a lot on gas. I'm grateful that it's come down a little bit. Not as much as it should be, but it's come down, so it hasn't been that back-breaking as we're doing all this driving going around to Appomattox or to D.C. and such. But Senator Warner put this out there that $2 billion gas price claim into context. So he says, with this war, Virginians have been saddled with $2 billion because it's ostensibly a war of Donald Trump's choosing. But I wanted to put this whole thing in perspective because why are we having the price of gas jumping? Is it because of the war, or is it because of the global supply chain that goes through the Strait of Hormuz has constantly and always been threatened by Iran over the last 47 years? Nobody's ever done anything about it. Why? Because they were afraid of what would happen. And Donald Trump is the one that actually said, listen, I'm going to go kick that hornet's nest, and we're going to take care of this once and for all. They can't have a nuke. And now, as they return serve, they're going, well, fine, we're going to cut off the Strait of Hormuz. Now Donald Trump has two things. He's got to fix the Strait of Hormuz. You cannot have that international waterway transit blocked off by any country because it squeezes off 20% of the world's oil, or at least it did. Now it's about 2%, and the rest have either been used, rerouted through pipelines, or we just aren't using as much oil. But that choke point is going to go away because right now they just announced big deals with Iraq that they're now going to build massive pipelines through Iraq so you don't have to take the oil through the Strait of Hormuz. So this problem will eventually go away. But for now, it's ratcheted up gas prices. But I wanted to put it in perspective because I know why the gas prices have gone up under Donald Trump. But I remember the gas prices being even more staggering under Joe Biden. Remember when people put up those stickers that said, I did this with a picture of Joe Biden? It was really effective, and it helped put Donald Trump back into the White House. And now we start to see people doing the same thing with Donald Trump. I did this. But let me give you the big historical perspective. Under Joe Biden, Virginia's gasoline reached a record high of $4.86 a gallon in June of 2022. Nationally, gasoline topped $5 a gallon. And that happened even after Joe Biden announced a massive release of 180 million barrels of gasoline from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which, by the way, he never replaced. Remember Biden, because gas prices were ridiculously high, he released a ton out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve that are only supposed to be used in times of war and emergency. Well, I guess $5 a gallon nationally was an emergency for him because he released all that oil and then never put it back. So when Donald Trump returns back to office, oil prices continued moving downward. They got up to that high level under Biden, $4.86 here, $5 a gallon around the country. Now, why did they go so high? Because inflation had taken off. The self-imposed inflation by the Biden administration through those big bills that he put through, the Inflation Reduction Act and the American Rescue Plan, pumped up so much money in the economy. You remember where everything went, inflation just hit the roof. Then inflation stops growing, but it still stayed up there. Gas prices leveled back off. And this is historically what happened. Donald Trump returns to office. Prices continue to move downward as they did after they hit that record high of $5 a gallon, continue to move downward. And immediately before the war began, the regular gas price in Virginia was approximately $2.84 a gallon. That's $2 cheaper than Virginia's Biden era record, which put gasoline so high simply because of the mismanagement of the economy and the Inflation Reduction Act and the American Rescue Plan, which shot inflation through the roof. Totally self-imposed as they tried to spend their way out, and they just made it worse. Completely self-goal by Joe Biden when gas reached $2 higher than it should have been. Donald Trump, it starts going back down under Biden after it shot up so high, and then continues to go down under Donald Trump. The lower price represented real savings for Virginia drivers. Then the war with Iran disrupted the global oil supplies and threatened shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Gas prices shot back up. Remember, gas prices it's an international commodity. And I think we've learned a lot about oil since all of this started, that we produce plenty of oil here in the United States of America. Unfortunately, we don't build any new refineries. So the refineries that we have, They don't take our oil. We ship that. We take the sweet Texas crude and we put that in the international market. It actually gets shipped to other places because they want that. What we need in America is the heavy sulfur, the dirtier oil, the less clean oil that comes from Venezuela, can come from Iran, can come from Russia. That version of oil is actually what our refineries are set up to produce. So that's why this Venezuela oil that's coming into the United States, that's what you put in your gas tank, not the sweet Texas crude, the bent crude. That's the best oil you could find anywhere. So when the war disrupts the global oil supplies and threatens shipping, gas prices shoot back up. Virginia regular is now $3.97 a gallon, and Senator Warner says Virginians have paid more than $2 billion in additional gasoline costs since the conflict began. So both things can be true at once. Virginians were saving substantial money at the pump before Trump started the war with Iran. And those savings have now been overwhelmed by the enormous price increases caused by the Iranian conflict. Do presidents control every penny at the pump? No, but they're accountable for the policies and the decisions each made on their watch. So if you want to get on Donald Trump for this war in Iran, certainly it's one of the byproducts of trying to tell Iran you can't have a nuke. And Iran is absolutely 100% committing economic war on the United States by closing off. By the way, they've never closed off the Strait of Hormuz. They don't have the Navy to do it. But what they've done is they've made it uninsurable, so nobody's going to go through the Strait of Hormuz. Lloyd's of London stopped writing those policies. Therefore, nothing goes through the Strait of Hormuz. $150 million ship, $150 million worth of cargo. No one's going through there without insurance in case something happens. That's how they've closed off the Strait of Hormuz. So if you want to attach that to Donald Trump, he has to wear that in his record, but you also need to make sure that you attach it to President Biden, who had gas $2 higher simply because of the ineptness of the way that he, Janet Yellen, and the rest of the administration ran the economy. Well, the Democrats are in charge. I think that's fair. I think it's fair to put, hey, this war with Iran has caused our gas prices to go up. Donald Trump, you got to wear that. In the same sentence, for Donald Trump, Joe Biden has to wear the fact gas prices went up simply because they were so bad at running the economy with the liberal Democratic principles that you saw under Biden and Harris. Just wanted to make sure that you got that point because you're going to see a lot of that of Warner's quote coming up this weekend. All right, that's going to do it for the program. Are we done? Dave, you're telling me to get out of here? I'm going to go.
30 seconds.
I'm going over to Green Top right now. I'm going to go shooting over the Green Top sporting range. That's going to be fun. And I'm going to go get a steak. I'm going to have a great weekend. I hope you will as well. Hey, today's national anthem is, as always, is brought to you by our friends at Freedom Services at Trinity, the biggest little gun store in town located in Mechanicsville. I'll be back on Monday. There's a reason why I get up every morning without fail, and I come here with a big smile on my face. Because there's things I think that are worth standing up for today in 2026. One is always going to be my family. The other is this great nation I'm so blessed to be a part of. That's why we get up every morning to bring you Richmond's Morning News on News Radio WRVA.
Please stand for the national anthem of the United States of America.
Oh, say, can you see?